then guys, welcome back to the Tdts podcast. Today's episode 3. We're talking true crime. So today we'll all be talking about 3 different crimes that we've researched ourselves. We talk about how interesting they are, and we're going to come up with our own theories again. So I'm going to talk about the serial killer, Fred West. Carl will be talking about the murder of the little boy Blue. And Ryan will be talking about the crimes of D.B. Cooper. We're going to get into mine first, and I'm talking Fred West.
Let me just cut in 2 seconds. Trigger warning, if you don't want to listen to this stuff, just skip on probably about 10-15 minutes to me talking as this may trigger
Timestamps will be down below.
Yeah, timestamps will be down.
Right then boys, so Fred West, he was born on September 9th, 1941, so this is during the height of the war. Both his parents were farmers, so he obviously grew up on a farm. He grew up with another brother and 2 sisters. Basically his parents were a bit of sickos. Sorry to start from us in a somber mood, but his parents were sickos. His dad used to sexually abuse his sisters, and his mum used to sexually abuse him. As soon as he got the age where his body could do things that would pleasure a woman.
You could just say I went through puberty.
It wasn't even that. It was more like when he was developing better. It wasn't. She didn't even went for puberty.
So about 6-ish.
So the parents would sexually abuse the children. I was actually brought up thinking that bestiality was okay. Obviously, the parents would engage in sexual activities with the farm animals in front of the children. I mean, we all know our parents have a big influence on our lives, so if parents are doing it, obviously we're going to think it's normal.
Aye.
So, I mean, growing up, you know what I mean, with that, seeing that every day, you're going to think it's normal. So,
Yeah,
fuck. So he was brought up in a sexually fueled life, basically. He was in a little village on a farm, you know. He had a lot of freedom, but things he was seeing when he was growing up, you know, his parents would be killing animals in front of him.
No, I mean that's normal. He's on a farm.
Yeah, sexually exploiting them, but like you gotta think like that's not you're not bringing you up for your child seeing that.
It depends on if they're killing the animal just for fun, that's not normal.
Yeah, well, yeah. If it's for fun, then
if
no.
it's for like your food and stuff, then maybe.
Yeah, I'd
it's okay.
Yeah.
So he was a charming person, but I mean he wasn't the most clever. So actually at 15 he dropped out of school to work on the farm. And he did that for a couple of years, and then at the age of 17 he actually had like a motorcycle accident.
Oh shit.
Which left him in a coma and severe injuries to his legs, his arms and mainly his head.
How long was he in the coma for?
What they didn't say, there wasn't any evidence, there wasn't any information, I mean how long he'd actually been in the coma. But he'd left permanent damage to his brain.
Yeah.
And as we know, I mean I don't know how it is with your 2 boys, but a lot of people who do this type of thing do have issues with the brain, the cognitive activity. That's just a fact of it. And then again at the age of 19 he's actually pushed off one of like these fire, you know, like in the classic movies where you have to go off like a ladder onto this like fire exit thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He got pushed off one of them trying to molest a 13-year-old girl. The girl managed to, and he had another head injury again.
And that was actually
fact. Yeah, everything fact checked.
Jesus, 13-year-old girl.
So
girl.
you mean from a young age, he was already trying it himself.
So did anything actually happen to the girl, or did she?
No, she managed to push him off. Yeah, thankfully.
Jesus. That's scary enough as it is, but.
That's growing up in that lifestyle is obviously going to be basically, to put it brutally, a sex pest. I mean, it's a sexually fueled lifestyle he'd been brought up in, so it was a small village, and he'd go out sometimes and just try and rape and force himself onto the girls of the village.
That's disgusting.
So in this time he'd actually met a prostitute who was pregnant with another man, like someone she'd had sex with while soliciting them. And actually became infatuated with her because she'd gratify his sexual needs, basically. And he got married to her even though she was carrying someone else's child, and he actually moved up to Scotland with her. I wasn't sure exactly whereabouts in Scotland, but it was sort of somewhere up in Scotland. So obviously he had the first child with this woman, and then he had his own child with this woman also. So he's actually, and he'd actually been sexually having a falling out with the mother and things, and actually left the home. So he'd moved away, The mother had stayed up in Scotland. They'd moved down to Gloucester.
How old was he at this time, do you know?
Gosh, he was about in his 20s, early mid-20s.
Aye.
And like I said, he was a charming man, so he was like quite a ladies' pleaser. But I mean, not you never know from first impressions what people are really like.
Yeah.
As we'll find out from what his neighbours thought of him in a bit. But anyway, he moved to Gloucester, away from his wife and his children. The wife would visit for the first couple of years, but then after a while, the visits stopped. And at the time, they wasn't sure why the visits stopped. During this time, he met a woman called Rosemary. This was in 1968. And again, completely infatuated with her. A weird thing about this Rosemary thing is he saw her as a mother figure, almost, which is something he'd be craving, so she would tell him what to do, especially sexually, and he was used to that from his mother.
So it's like submissive and dominant kind
of stuff. So you'll find out in a bit, but she had control of a lot of what he did to the people when she was there, so he'd actually sometimes do it in secret as well. That's why we're not sure on the true numbers. But anyway, at this point, Rosemary actually had run over a 4-year-old child at this time and killed them by accident. So obviously, I mean, he's already doing all this stuff to children, and then she's also doing it's like a match made in hell, basically.
That's one way to put it.
I mean, it's put brilliantly. Rose actually murdered one of her stepdaughters, so they actually ended up having 6 children together as well. And the child that was actually Fred's, she'd murdered in a fit of rage. The children would be beaten by Rosemary when Fred was out working. He was a construction worker, and she'd beat them while he was out working. Oh God. And they'd actually use the fact they'd killed some of the other children to threaten the children that were still alive, saying, if you don't do what we want, if you don't let us do this to you, then you'll end up in the same place. Basically. Which, I mean, it's awful.
It is a fucking difficult thing to talk about, shit like this.
Then in 1972, they picked up a 17-year-old girl who was hitchhiking home from her boyfriend's, who they later employed as a nanny. Fred had actually made a remark one day, just out of the blue, saying how his 8-year-old daughter had lost her virginity. And obviously, as a normal person, she'd picked up on it and said, like, hang on a minute, that's not funny.
Yeah.
How did that happen? He's like, oh, the bike saddle fell off and the metal pole that holds the bike saddle actually penetrated her and done damage.
Nah.
And it threw alarm bells to the nanny, but she never said anything. And then Fred and Rosemary then actually invited this nanny into their sex circle. They led a circle. There was other people involved, and they got found out there were other people involved in this. Not in the killing of them, but in like sexual parts, like mass orgies and things. And they actually invited this 17-year-old girl into this with them. Fucking hell. And that's at the point where she sort of left and was like, no, I'm done, I can't deal with this, and sort of left. Later on, a couple of months down the line, so they'd seen her hitchhiking from the same spot they picked up the first time. And they offered to take her back, and they was telling her how much the children missed her, and then it turned weird because Fred was like, have you had sex today? And then proceeded to tell Rosemary to check, oh God, this is disgusting, to basically force herself onto this girl in the back of the car and see whether she'd had sex by feeling how wet she was, basically. And then stopped in the middle of this like country lane and knocked her out, tied her up with her own scarf and took her back to the house, where they both then did sexual things to her. Both did sexual things to her, and then Fred then raped her when Rosemary left the room and said, I'll let you go if you promise to come back and look after the children. Obviously she said at the time, I'll come back, I promise I'll come back, just let me go, get my things and I'll come back. Obviously never did go back, but I mean they're subjecting this to other people.
Oh, shit.
that in 1973, this was when this happened, and she'd actually gone to the police, and the police had taken it to court and things. And when it got taken to court, the girl, obviously scared, refused to go into court to provide like eyewitness evidence, basically. And because she wasn't there to testify for the prosecution, they actually only got 25 quid each. Yeah, fined 25 quid each for
That's like nothing back then as well.
especially for rape.
Yeah, it's nothing for rape, but
No, but even so,
they should be.
25 quid back then was nothing because most stuff you could buy for like a quid.
No, back then it was a lot cheaper, but the thing is, for rape and
That's when they basically got away with it.
that's giving them a chance to do them again, saying, "Oh, you've got 25 quid fine here.
Yeah.
Go do it again. You'll probably have the money again."
So then, in 1979, one of the children actually got pregnant by Fred. And this was the daughter Anne. She actually got, and then Fred then sexually abused his other daughter Heather, before she then disappeared, and they never filed a missing persons report because obviously they're the ones doing it. And he was actually found later, because word just got round from other people about this dog going missing, to a police detective. Some woman police detective got new go around her, and she was the one who told the police about it, and the police had then gone and dug under the patio in the garden. And the police were expected just to find that one body, but then they found 2 other thigh bones. So then there was another body under that patio as well. So obviously then Fred was arrested, and so was Rosemary. They then demolished the house to look for further evidence, and actually found an extra 9 bodies.
Where?
So they had like a cellar under the house,
Yeah.
No.
and they'd basically buried them in the cellar of the house and then cemented over it. And then turned that room into a children's bedroom.
The fuck is wrong with people?
So basically, in 1994, they got found out for this. And then in 1995, while Fred was in prison for life, he basically hung himself. Because sort of at this point, he'd done it for such a long time. You got to think he was doing it from basically the age of like 17 and doing all this. He was like 50 odd at this point. He'd have been, what, 54 by the time he hung himself.
The people in prison found out what he'd done and
They would have done. So he'd have been a target. But I mean, at this point, he didn't care. He'd done it for so long. He was sort of waiting to get caught. So he hung himself. And then Rose West later admitted to being part of these crimes, and she was sentenced to life. And they only 10 murders, so she wasn't. So in this time, the body of the first wife, who Masseuse had disappeared after a couple of years visiting, was found. The body of the first daughter that wasn't his was also found in this like field that I can't remember if they owned it or it was just they had something to do with this field, and they basically buried all these other bodies in this field. So basically the house, which was 25 Cromwell Street in Gloucester, became synonymous, and all these people would then come and try to take pictures at this house, which is basically just blatantly disrespectful.
aye.
So in the end, they actually demolished the full path, and they wanted to send it into like a memorial place, but they thought again people would just be So actually, it's now literally just a path. I mean, in a way, it's still disrespectful because people have died and like innocent young children who were molested and horrible things had happened to them, and now like being buried under there for fucking ages that people know him.
There should be a way of being able to remember them.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know them, without people being disrespectful.
Like a plaque, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be something massive, just because it's the people walk over the path, and I bet some people won't even realise what's gone on there. Like they just walk over like it's a normal path. And for me, this Fred West guy is just the epitome of evil.
Like that's Fred's mum and dad as well, and I hope
That's an argument in itself. It's like, is what his mum and dad to him, did that cause him to then do it himself, or was it the head injuries, or was that just always going to be what he did?
Was it proven what the mum and dad did?
Yeah.
Was that?
Because it happened to the other siblings as well.
Did anything happen to them?
No.
That's
But they would partake in incest and happened to all the children.
some crazy stuff, that.
Yeah, he'd admitted all this when while he was in prison about what had happened to him. So, like I say, it's the argument of like, is it what the parents are doing that causes it? The head injuries? Is it?
Probably
Is
it
it just a natural disposition? Like he was destined to do this. It's like what he was going to do was just going to be a sick individual.
I feel like it's probably a bit of all three.
I think it's a bit of a more or less one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that upbringing to start off from the parents of making that seem normal to like nonce on your own kids, and you know,
influenced it a lot.
And that sexually fueled lifestyle that you know, you're impressionable as a kid. You pick up things a lot easier. You know, you pick up these routines because you've been in time of learning. So if that's what you see in all this sex and things, obviously you're gonna do it, and you're gonna think it's alright because your parents are doing it. You know, you look to them as role models, and you're gonna copy them. So I think that helped. But then these head injuries as well. You know.
I don't know. In a way, I agree what people are saying. It might cause it, but them head injuries, innit? Like brain damage.
Yeah.
That part of the brain's not gonna work. So
Yeah.
I don't see in a way how that can be part if it's dead. It's not gonna work.
No, it's just. I mean, it's just shocking what happened. You know.
It's disgusting.
Like.
It's why they should bring back death penalty, because there's so many
Agreed.
people out there like that. You won't even know. You'll probably see people that have done some really bad stuff in the street.
That was the thing with Fred West. It's like he blended in. You wouldn't give him a second look if you saw him in the street. You know, he was just a normal working class man.
So many people do that, and they just get away with it. If you look in the news nowadays, they get a fine or they get put on sex register or something like that, and that's in a way like Scott's free. They're on it for like 5 years, and then after that, they locate on that like parks and stuff where there's gonna be kids or schools. It's a disgusting world. It is.
No, I agree with that. Things like that, especially to young children who can't defend themselves and things, and you know, they don't really know what's going on. Especially when your own parents doing it to you, like what are they meant to do? Like what are they meant to do? They can't, you know what I mean? Like he basically told that nanny to take the virginity of an 8-year-old, and bragged about it.
It's disgusting.
I mean, for me, this is probably one of, if not the most shocking case, especially from the UK.
Oh god, yeah.
I've never heard of this case, and I've got to say it.
Neither have I until today.
One of the worst cases I've heard of, and I love stuff like this.
But not this.
I don't love.
Like you,
but you find it interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to know about stuff like this.
That's it's just like what goes on in people's heads to think that's okay. Like how you wouldn't feel guilty about it, and the fact he used to torment the children. What got me the most out of everything I was researching is the fact he used to torment his own children by saying you'll end up like your brother and sister if you carry on.
I don't even have a comment to say because he's just sick. Like, it's nothing to be proud of.
Shit. But yeah, that's basically what I got on Fred West Boys. I'm sorry for the dump at the beginning of the podcast, but
I'm sorry, but lighten mood.
Yeah.
Lighten mood.
It's a crazy world we live in. Crazy.
Yeah. So next we'll go on to Callum and Little Boy Blue.
Aye.
So give it a couple of seconds, I'll just
It's crazy that.
Well, let's hope Callum.
When you're ready, clap.
Yeah.
Like clap quite loud, and then wait for your hands to go back down, and then you can carry on.
So I'm doing Little Boy Blue, also known as Reese Jones. He was an 11-year-old kid killed by gang turf war. There were two rival gangs. I'll go into the names of them a bit sooner. Basically, the little lad, innocent lad, people say he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but my opinion, he was in the right place at the right time. The gangs were in the wrong place, wrong time. I think it's ridiculous, this. So his mum dropped Reese off to go play football training every week. He kisses his mum and he says, "I'll be back to watch the England match." This was a crime that shocked the nation at the time. So he'd finished his football training. His coach offered him a lift home, but Reese said, "No, I'll be fine. It's just up the street. I'll be okay." So Reese leaves training to go home, and he's cutting through a car park, and then as he's cutting through, there's a gang of kids at one end of the car park, and then there's a kid on a BMX in black, rides up, shoots a shot. He misses the first shot. Second shot, he goes into the neck of Reese Jones, and then he fires another shot, and he made his escape. This is outside a pub in Liverpool, Croxteth, called the Fair Tree Pub. August 22nd, 2007. People rushed to go and help the lad, poor 11-year-old boy that got basically murdered because the rival gang war. This is a really big thing currently now as well in the UK. So the kid on the bike opens fires and makes off. Reese lays in a pool of blood from where he was shot in the neck. People from the pub rushed over to go and help, to try save the little boy. The coach was there. He described it as horrific. Reese's mum was called as well. She rushed over, and there's a big group of circle of people helping over from the pub. She manages to get through, and she's talking to him, trying to shake him, saying, stay with me, please stay." She described it as it felt like forever for the ambulance to get there. And the ambulance guy says he's alive currently, he's alive. Later, he died in, I'm not sure if it's died in hospital or on the scene. I'm not too sure on that. She was heartbroken because it was her son, it was her life. She was distraught. The dad came to the scene as well. He was a bit late. I wasn't sure whether he was working or something. He wasn't too sure on the seriousness of the event. He wasn't sure where he was shot. And the dad arrived as the ambulance was just leaving. His dad was distraught too. That was their world ended. Basically his body could not survive the trauma because of how old he was. People did try to help save his life, but because of the injuries sustained from the bullet, sadly nothing could have been done to help the lad. I just think why are teenagers carrying guns? Reese's football coach describes him as having a great football training night. He was always confident, always bubbly. They did penalties, I think, and for the coach's shot, Reese wanted to go and goal. He was enthusiastic about football, a big Everton fan, and he wanted to play for Everton as he grew older, but sadly his dreams were over because of gang war. Stupid idiots taking a life, couldn't even own up to killing a boy, didn't feel guilty, just took it as a joke. It's disgusting. So police instantly got to work to set out to find Reese's murderer. There were public appeals made, nobody came forward. People were scared because the killer was on the scene. If they come forward, maybe the gangs are gonna come and kill them, or just hurt the families and stuff. It was done in public, daylight, and there will have been witnesses there, witnesses about. They will have probably seen this, but too scared to come forward. This is a big part of Liverpool gun crime. The parents knew about the gang crime and the drugs and all this, but they did not live in the areas of where this was happening. The gangs had obviously come out of their territory, and obviously the killer in one of the gangs on the BMX took the life of an 11-year-old boy, a life that would never come back. So soon there was Liverpool police officers and detectives were given a tip off that it was a 16-year-old boy in a gang that had shot Reese and killed him. So he was caught on CCTV heading in the general direction to the scene. CCTV wasn't the best. There was vague images of him, and just they couldn't exactly pinpoint him. They needed more evidence. They knew his name, but they couldn't do nothing without more evidence. The crime scene, there was few clues, lack of evidence. It was just there wasn't enough evidence there either to send this teenager down. There was lack of evidence at the scene to be able to do it. The police were given names. They knew about this teenager. He'd been stopped and searched 8 times. He was part of a gang called the Crockley Crew. So police knew about him. It was just, we need that evidence to be able to send him down for the murder. So basically the Crockley Crews, the rivals, were called the Strand Gang. They'd been fighting since 2004. So this is roughly 3 years. And it's disgusting as to how you can kill an 11-year-old boy and not own up to it. So the community were reluctant to come forward, so they were scared to say that this lad had done it, or to say they'd seen him in the area. because in case it backlashed on them, they knew they'd have to go on the run, they'd have to be in witness protection for the rest of their life. It's a scary thing, but I think they should have come forward because it's an innocent boy, done nothing wrong. He was coming back from football training, going home to his family. I feel for his family.
That's what I mean. I feel like there's a stronger sense of justice that needs to be put out here. Like you say, it's an innocent young boy who had nothing to do with this. He was just a normal kid who loved football. He's been independent, coming home from his football training. I mean, I don't know how often he'd do that before that.
He'd walk on pretty much every time he went training.
Yeah. But like, I mean, so like he was someone who was used to walking. He probably walked that same way dozens of times, and never once had an issue like this. And I mean, imagine the first shot, how terrifying that was for him. When it missed, but you still hear a gunshot. You know what I mean? Like, people in the army get PTSD from that type of stuff. And imagine that from an 11-year-old boy.
Wasn't the gunshots weren't intended for Reese, was it?
No, they weren't intended for him. They were intended to the other gang.
That's, I mean, like, gang warfare is awful.
Oh God, yeah.
Unnecessary, it's awful.
It's insane that I don't get. I know it's stupid, and I know I'm right, but it's gonna sound stupid to the people who think, weapons this, weapons that, fine. You should be able to talk it out. You should be able to do that, or just, if you don't like people, don't even need them in your life. Forget what they say, forget what they do. You don't need them in your life. Don't start taking it out by using weapons. You gotta think, that's you gonna get in trouble. You could take a life, then that means taking your life away. And it's just gonna be constant. You should be able to talk it out.
That's me. It's just gonna be, like you said, it's just gonna be a cycle in it of this eye for an eye motto that they have in it. It's like you do something to one of our gang, we'll do the exact same or worse to your gang. It's like there's no even need for this gang warfare. Like, it's so unnecessary.
No, and it's like, even carrying knives as well. I know that I'm going off a bit, but carrying knives, carrying weapons with you, it's not big and hard. It's not. You're gonna take your life away by killing somebody else's. You're gonna have that guilt for the rest of your life. What if you wanna escape them gangs you're in? You've killed somebody. You're stuck in a situation. You have to come away from the weapons, you have to come away from the gangs. It's not a good life. It's not. Like I say, I'm gonna go off a bit again. Big Andy, a London Metropolitan Police officer. He was a big supporter on getting rid of knife crime, gangs. He was most influential, most inspirational police officer I've ever seen. And as he says, you should go and tidy your room. Don't be carrying knives, go and tidy your room.
Right.
So please, just stop.
But it's not even that, it's like, just get your life together. You don't have to do that. It's not a life. Like you say, you're taking a life and then your life's gonna get taken anyway. And for what? Trying to show off to some of the older lads who are ruining their life too. I mean, you should be going out there and trying to improve yourself. Like, just because you're on that area or you live near these people, don't mean you have to follow. Set by example, you know what I mean? Like, write your own life. Don't follow the one that's given to you.
See, I mean, or you think, this is the easy way of earning money. Go to college, go to uni. I bet most of you could become doctors. You can become anything you want to be if you put your mind to it. Don't think you're cool carrying knives and you want your drugs, you want to earn money from doing the wrong thing. It's not the best idea out there.
And you gotta think, it's not even just you whose life is getting lost, like your family are losing that life too.
Your family, I bet.
You know what I mean? Like, you gotta think like how that's gonna affect your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, the rest of your family. You've done that, you give your family a bad name too. Like, how many times people, like, it's like going back to mine, the West family, their siblings had to go into hiding because people were saying that's what they were doing too. You know, and there wasn't. They were completely innocent people, but because of that stigma that one person from that family gave them, that's how everyone treated them. It's disgusting.
You think you're cool showing off to these older gang members who promise you this good lifestyle. It's not a good lifestyle. Once you're in there, it's one of the most difficult things to get out of. You're going to be running for your life because they're going to come after you because you probably owe them your life. Once you're in that situation, you owe them your life. You have to end up going in witness protection. You're just basically on the run for your rest of your life because you just know that they're going to probably find you, they're going to come back to you. You just need to get away from this type of stuff. I'll carry on because we're going off a bit, but I'm just saying,
think it needed to go off though a bit.
Yeah.
I hate gang crime. I hate it. And I'm sure everybody else does. So, I'll go back. So
You were talking about how people were scared to come forward, basically.
people were scared to come forward, and in the end, the parents, they weren't too keen on doing this, but they had to share their grief and loss in hope that the community will come forward and help in getting Reese's killer brought to justice. And basically, this kind of went wrong. So the lad who had done it, his mum, Jeanette Mercer, lied to police about the bike Sean was on. So instead of this is a difficult one. Instead of the grieving loss being out there to help him, Jeanette Mercer decided to cover up what her son had done wrong. A letter found one of the younger gang members half an hour after the killing of Reese, a lad called James Yates. The killer went into James Yates' house, and he discussed what had happened, and he was arranging for some of his gang members and some of the other ones to meet up at the Mercer's family house to get rid of evidence. So James Yates' house was bugged, giving vital evidence for the police. So Boy M, I have to say this as I've not been given a name, this is the one I've used. Boy M Mercer met up with him and the gang to get rid of evidence. Boy M's mum saw the killer in the house. She didn't know at the time, but I'm gonna say killer for now because I'll give the name at the end. Boy M's mum saw him, and they were trying their best to beat forensics. They'd done everything. They spoke to the other gang members, and they went to a guy in the gang called Melvin Coy. He worked on an industrial estate, I think in the construction trade. So the killer was washed in petrol, his clothes were burned. This was to get rid of forensics of the gun off his body so police couldn't trace it, and on his clothes. gangs knew what they're doing, how to operate, how to get rid of evidence and try and beat the police. After months of investigation, CCTV of the car was found going to the industrial site, and basically there was a tip-off eventually after the months to come about the murder weapons. So there was a boy called Boy X. Guns were found in his loft, and he was then arrested and taken in for questioning, in which he was scared about to say anything, in case it came back on him. So basically, 2 guns were recovered. The gun of Reese Jones, the murder weapon, was recovered. It was then recovered, and he was then, I'm not sure, I think witness protection, and then they were in court. So on the 7th, in April of that time, a 17-year-old boy called Sean Mercer was then arrested for questioning, and then all the boys were taken to court, and there was a group of them. When the family was there, family of Reese, it was like they didn't care. They were laughing, they were joking, talking to themselves. They didn't care that they'd killed an 11-year-old boy. After 11 weeks of court, they were found guilty of murder.
Thank God.
I think this is a really big investigation. It's one that, in a way, I'll always remember. I don't know him personally, but I will always remember this because of current gang warfare and the influence. And if people can't, I don't get how people can't, how they can get away with it, and how they enjoy their lifestyle.
That pissed me off when you said that laugh. That really pissed me off.
Yeah.
I just slapped the piss out of them.
That's something I didn't know though, that the fact that they laughed. All I knew is that they killed him and that.
I mean, I'm glad he been brought to justice, but I'd slap.
So yeah, Sean was found guilty. He was sentenced for life. This is probably one of the worst cases that I know of, especially involving gangs. I don't know what you got to say on it, but
Too much.
I knew a lot about this one already, but there's still stuff that I only just found out today. And when you said that, the fact that when they were going into court, that they were laughing at the fact that they killed this boy, that legit was like, that pissed me off so much that if I was there, I probably would have punched one of them.
Aye.
Like, I probably would have.
It's not even that, it's just, where's your sense of humanity? Where's your sense of moral right? Like, things that happen to children just really get to me, especially things like this, where it's like that child is living its normal day, you know, dreaming of playing for Everton, going home to watch the England football, you know, you're being pumped.
He'd have probably been in one damn good
And
Everton
for
player as well.
some absolute fucking tool to take that life, and then for the mum to try and hide it, and then for him to be on the run, just shows what pieces of shit they are, basically. Like, I don't get what's wrong with you mentally to not realise how wrong that was. You know what I mean? Like, any normal person who thought normally would know that was wrong and turn themselves in straight away. Because, yes, you're caught holding a gun and you just killed someone, but you've killed an innocent person. You shouldn't be going up to shoot anyone. It's period. If that's your intention, get your head sorted out. Because that poor boy and that family have to deal with that. You know, that boy could have been someone. He could have been leading the front line for everything. He could have just had a normal 9 to 5, happy, had his own children, his own family, made his mum and grandma. And now she's not going to get that luxury. Because there's some idiot on a bike thinking he's the big man in a fucking gang. I mean, I don't want to say much more in it, but I'm getting a bit mad, but
yeah.
I feel like...
It's made me angry, this one.
It made me angry.
Gang... We need to do something about gang crime, we really do. I don't know the solution, but...
Gang crime, it's gone on for years.
Too long.
And I think it's always going to be there. There are always going to be... I don't want to say like this, but there are always going to be forces. If you've got to use a weapon as well, you're a twat. If you're in a gang, you're a hoof wanking spankled twat. And if you want to get into that side of crime and you want to do that shit, and you do that, but just know there will be justice waiting for you. Just know that.
Well, I think that's the perfect time to go on to Ryan's.
Oh my god.
And you want to talk about DB Cooper, right, Ryan?
Yep, DB Cooper.
Perfect. Right, so that'll be the transition into your one now. Just whenever you're ready, clap us in and then we'll go.
Don't do it too loud.
Yeah, just clap us in when you're ready.
Alright guys, today from our true crime story, I'm going to be doing the DB Cooper case. Way different from their two one. Mine's about hijacking. So, on Wednesday, 24th November 1971, Dan Cooper got aboard of the flight 305 from Oregon going to Washington. They say that Dan was in his mid-40s, he sat at seat 18C, and at 3 PM, halfway through his flight, he handed one of the stewards a note. So she decided to put the note in her pocket, saying thanks and that, and he basically waved her in closer saying, "You might want to read that note, I've got a bomb." And showed her the bomb in his briefcase. So he handed her another note saying, "Take this to the pilot," and it had a list of everything he wanted. It said he wanted $200,000 by 5 PM in cash. He wanted a knapsack. He wanted 2 back parachutes and 2 front parachutes. And when they land, a fuel truck should be ready to refuel. Note that he asked for the $200,000 in $20 bills.
Okay. Why is that important?
It's just what it said.
Okay.
And he got the money in Seattle.
Right.
He kept a few of the crew members and asked for the plane, when it takes back off flight, to remain under 10,000 feet.
Okay.
At 7 PM, Cooper jumped out the back doors, and that was the reported last time of Cooper actually ever being seen. But still on the plane, he left a clip-on tie, which was the only physical evidence that he was there.
Right.
The FBI actually released the serial numbers for the money that was stolen.
Okay.
And in 1980, 9 years after the crime, a young boy found a bag of money on the side of a beach that was some of the ransom money. There was, I think they said there was about 5,800
Mhm.
that was in that bag out of the 200,000 that went missing.
Mhm.
No one really knows who Dan Cooper was, or
If that was even, was that definitely his real name?
no one really knows.
Okay.
And every main suspect
Yeah.
wasn't actually called Dan Cooper.
Okay.
Some people believe that he might have been a paratrooper. Some people believe that he was an inexperienced parachuter.
Okay.
And it's since no one really knows who he is, he's basically like a John Doe.
Did they not have like a description of his face?
Yes. I'll try and find that picture for you.
Okay, thank you.
So he's basically a ghost from that.
Yeah, like a John Doe.
Yeah.
Ever since he jumped out of the back door, no one knew where he was. No one found him.
Yeah.
Do they know where he jumped? Like which?
He jumped between Seattle and New Mexico,
Right. Okay.
above like a wooded area.
Right.
So some people believe that he may have died whilst parachuting.
But if he's experienced too far, he could maybe.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's where the inexperienced parachuter comes from.
Okay.
The fact that he landed above a wooded area makes them believe because sometimes even paratroopers refuse to land in wooded areas.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, if you're trained for a situation like that, you know what I mean. Like you could make it look impossible.
But the thing is, another reason why people believe that he's still alive is because of the fact that there wasn't a body recovered and there wasn't a parachute recovered.
Yeah.
He took two of the four parachutes that he had with him.
Right.
One front one, one back one. One of them was actually a military parachute, and one of them was a beginner's parachute that was sewn shut.
Okay.
And
so, I mean, to be fair, if you're experienced, you'd have seen it sewn shut because you know how to prepare it.
But there was only he still took the one that was sewn shut with him. But the
so where was the money found
parachute
again? Sorry.
What?
Where was the money found again?
The 5,800 was found on a beach.
Which beach?
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. It
Okay.
started with a T.
Do we know roughly where it was? Like New Mexico, Seattle?
It was somewhere in between.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking is, he's used a parachute.
He took two parachutes with him, the military one and the sun one.
So I think he's used that bag that was sewn shut and he's attached it to that money that was found and it's landed on a beach or something. And
Well, yeah, that could be actually a...
But to be fair, you said you landed in a wooded area, so you'd have to carry it there.
There was no parachute found.
To be fair, right near the wooded area, near where he allegedly landed, there was actually a river which led down towards the beach.
So then surely the body would be, what's the first 9 years later, where would the rest of the money have gone?
That no one knows. I believe because he asked for a knapsack as well, he put the rest of the money in the knapsack and used that money as a diversion.
Good one.
Even still, at the very beginning of this, there were over 800 suspects.
And how many did they narrow it down to?
24. I didn't get any of the suspects' names.
Okay.
That was one thing that I decided not to do because...
I mean, too many.
Yeah.
They shot the Ripple, wasn't it?
It'd be way too long. But,
was there anyone that stood out as quite possibly the main suspect really?
Well, there was this one worker who kind of matched the description of him.
Okay.
Who actually worked for Boeing, the plane company. And that one of the reasons people believe it was actually this guy is because on the clip-on tie, there was traces of stuff that he would use to build planes.
Is he the one who made America change the laws on having air marshals on planes and stuff?
Yes.
I think I remember this one.
Yeah.
Because they changed the law not on because they said it was someone acting as a vigilante trying to see how easy it was to hijack a plane.
Some people actually believe that the bomb wasn't actually a real bomb. That it was just a homemade machine kind of thing to look like a real bomb to scare people.
Well, that would go with what I was saying then about he was trying to be like a vigilante, trying to show how easy it was for a terrorist to just do that.
Yeah. some people believe that it was actually an inside job and that the pilot had a helping hand in this. The reason that they're saying this is because the route that the pilot took towards New Mexico, was like what people described it as strange because it didn't follow any natural plane routes.
Wait, but
It basically followed the coast as if he was told to go that way.
Yeah, but you've been told that,
I
man.
thought he was
No, but
told.
he said in an interview that he wasn't told to go that way, that he chose to go that way.
So maybe he could be on it.
Yeah, maybe that's why some people think he was part of it, but
That's strange.
yeah, and one sec, let me I'll pull it up on my phone. It was okay. He was originally charged with air piracy.
Yep.
But that only had a 5-year warranty on it, so like you only had 5 years to catch him and prosecute him for that one. But then obviously the 5 years passed, so they changed it to violating the Hobbs Act.
What's the Hobbs Act?
I don't know. I don't know, but I know that doesn't have a warranty on it. So like if he was arrested tomorrow,
So
for example, or like even
Yeah.
later tonight, he could still be done for that one. And some people believe that he made it out, decided to flee to Canada.
Between Seattle and New Mexico.
Like I know like Seattle and New Mexico.
To like throw them off,
quite
maybe.
yeah, to throw them off.
Okay.
Like New Mexico's like basically way down like south.
So
like,
was the plane not tracked? Like when
the plane was tracked. That's why they noticed that the plane was going in a weird direction to the way it should be going.
So surely they would. So they know the point he jumped at, obviously.
Yeah, they knew the point that they jumped at because.
So how long did it take for the forces basically to respond to the area where he would have dropped out? Did they go there or?
Like, they don't know where he landed, but they know when he jumped out. The thing is because apparently it was a stormy night that night, and it was like.
But surely they'd be able to say like on the time it was like. Did you say it was like 3 o'clock? He jumped out.
He jumped out at 7.
Jumped out at 7. So like say like 7:04 he jumped out, and they can look on the map and say at 7:04 you were here, and they could check like that whole area.
But
so,
the thing is about that, like
there's a lot of area.
There's a lot of area where he could have landed because the thing is about a military parachute, you can't control it.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
You can't control a military one.
Maybe back in the days, but you high up and you can literally.
Like nowadays, obviously we'll have parachutes that we can control, but back then the military parachutes you couldn't control. You could basically it was just a parachute that you had to glide down with.
Okay.
And then the thing is, if he was a trained paratrooper, he would know how to use that in any weather.
I was going to say that stormy night thing.
There was a stormy night with high winds, so that could have blown him like so far off of where he wanted to intend to land, but. That would have actually kind of helped him.
Because you could be smart in a way. It could be him if he's experienced in that type of stuff. Like say if he's a paratrooper, then it could be him trying to throw him off, saying like, oh, like for like specialists say, oh, if he'd have done this jump, he would have died.
Yeah, but
type thing. So then
the thing is, he knew what. One reason I believe he knew what he was doing when it comes to parachuting is because he jumped out the back and not the front door. Because if you jump out the back door. You have a higher chance of surviving by jumping out of a plane.
The time and the weather.
And not just that, the fact that if you jump out the front, you have a chance of A, hitting
caught in
the engines, or B, hitting the wing.
So it's just common sense.
Common sense to jump out the back. Like you'd think that, but the amount of no, but you would legit think that, but the amount of people that would instinctively go to the front door to jump out is crazy.
Right, I think you probably knew because you're probably going to think maybe, but the time of which he did it.
But it was quite late. I think it was winter time, so obviously it'd be quite dark out.
He's probably pre-planned this, like you say. It could be the worker. They'll know about weather. Then if he's planned this, he'll know how to jump. he'll have checked maybe if they knew back then what the weather's gonna be like, and maybe pre-plan this, and maybe he's the one that's helped bring that law out. Maybe he's done it for a good reason.
Yeah. Well, another theory is that that it was an inside job from the FBI. So, like as you were saying, Charlie, like it could be a vigilante thing, to show like how easy it is to hijack a plane.
Yeah.
That some people believe that the FBI just decided to do that, to show how easy it was to hijack a plane and like basically make a new law.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, to an extent, that makes sense.
Yeah, it
and
does make sense.
It seems quite professional.
And it would also make sense on why the money wasn't ever found.
Well, yeah. Well, they found bits of the money.
They found bits of the money, but that could just be something that he dropped.
Yeah, but I mean,
and even still, eventually that money still got handed back in.
It makes sense because, like I say, he seems quite an experienced jump because it looked so dumb.
Yeah.
Like people would say, oh, he's got to have died. He jumped in a wooded area in a storm when it was high winds. Of course, he's dead.
And with a parachute that he couldn't control.
Exactly, but if
you're
trained for it.
But the thing is, like back in like World War II and that, when these parachutes were used a lot of the time it would be a high winds, stormy night.
Yeah.
When they were using these kinds of things.
Well, so he could have landed.
He could have easily landed. Yeah, maybe you might have landed in a tree, but you could have easily climbed down.
But even to an extent, he probably could have landed through the trees.
Yeah.
Or cut from the parachute when he got to a certain height and just landed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like that stuff like that's possible.
The stuff that would be trained to have. But people would say, like, of course he died and he just got away with it.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean? Like.
But like, the fact that this is actually quite a big controversy thing, but not many people know about it. Like,
I mean, he's changed the whole law. So.
Yeah, he's changed the whole law on things.
So the Vigilante Act has worked.
Yeah.
But we
not even just that. The fact that he could have even worked for Boeing themselves.
No, the FBI seems more scary if he's worked for the FBI and the FBI have done it.
Yeah. Like, I understand where you're coming from, why the FBI would be more scary about this, but the main theory is the fact that he worked for Boeing because of this stuff that they found on his clip-on tie.
Okay, yeah.
They found titanium, uranium, rare earth metals that are mostly used in planes. And the way that, and I know, obviously, even if there's loads of loopholes in the fact that he could be working for Boeing and done this, because if he did survive, it was he really would have had no chance of surviving if he worked for Boeing, because what kind of parachuting?
But then at that point they'd have to look for someone at Boeing who'd had experience parachuting.
Yeah, I know that would point out pretty quickly.
That's when the list of suspects would not be what was it you said?
800 at the very start.
It wouldn't be 800 people if it'd been someone from Boeing who had parachute experience. We'd be able to narrow that down quite quickly.
Yeah. And some people, and another.
So it's never been solved, right?
This has never been solved.
It's definitely FBI.
Yeah.
It's definitely FBI.
That's my personal theory, that the FBI really...
People have seen his face. Surely everyone on that plane would have seen his face. He's like, look, I've got a fucking bomb. I'm taking this plane hostage.
Yeah,
maybe.
The flight attendant that was with him... there was 2 flight attendants with him that were there for maybe about an hour. So that's why people believe the description of his face is accurate.
Exactly so.
Maybe all the passengers on the plane were also in on it, sure.
Oh.
But the thing is, I don't.
Or maybe they're bragged off afterwards. But I
don't think that, because they get they managed to get a really well done drawn sketch of what he may have looked like, and a lot of the suspects looked a lot like him.
They've been bragged off for money.
Yeah, but if he was there was 36 passengers.
No, what I'm saying is I'm still going with the FBI thing. The FBI would have bragged them off afterwards just to keep them off shut.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I mean, they make it look like a believable case. They'll put out a face. They'll say we've got all these suspects. We're going to interview. We're doing this. We're doing that. But then, obviously, for that all that work to come out,
this case isn't even closed yet. This case is still open.
That's what I mean. It's a little bit. FBI did it.
Yeah, that's the one that I believe that the FBI did it, because if the way that when he jumped, is so unnatural that any normal person would have been like smart enough to be like, yeah, no, I'm not jumping in this weather.
What do you think of?
I'm in on the FBI bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, like, it just makes sense. Because the FBI would have been trained in how to paratroop.
It's the thing, like I said earlier, it doesn't make sense, so it makes sense. Like, the investigation doesn't make sense, so it has to be the FBI.
Yeah.
Because no one's that incompetent.
Yeah, exactly. No one's stupid enough to jump out with a military parachute, one that you couldn't even control, in a stormy night.
So what, this had been in the 60s, right?
This is like late
61?
late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
Was where like what I'm saying is taking place.
Okay.
Right, so that'll be that there. Sorry we went on to like conspiracy theory, but it is including true crime, and we wanted it to be a bit light-hearted in the end and leave you with a twist. But yeah, there's a lot of important messages, and like today, we've done about some interesting stuff. Ryan's done a good job, Charlie has, and
Yourself,
it's been good.
And I just want to put that out there. If anyone's been affected by anything we've said today,
we're sorry.
Sorry, and we'll also put a couple of links in the description for places you can talk to. You know, if you need help and support on this, because we know it can be tough, it's can be difficult, and things like this can trigger things. So
hopefully, I don't mean in a bad way, but it might be able to help you. Also, we'll potentially leave our email if you've got any questions or anything.
Yeah, we'll definitely leave it in the email in the description.
So I mean, we're here. Contact us or contact people you know that they care, that'll support you, because there are people out there, you may not think of the people out there. Contact them, reach out and get the support you need if you've been affected by anything we've said today.
Alright, that goes for the sexual side of stuff to the gang side of stuff.
Or anything in between.
Or even anything that I said.
Yeah.
There is help out there for you, you just need to step up and you need to get there and do it. It's a hard process, but it can be done.
Yeah.
It works as well. It's been proven to work. Just to have a chat with someone. You don't have to call anyone, just have a chat with your family members or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it could work.
But yeah, that's just concluded. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye for now.
You're lost.